catching the attention. So there we are, live on YouTube, and Rev Wayne Stills, this mic is all yours.
Hey everyone, how's it going? What's happening? Reverend Wayne Stills here for Miracles Everywhere on ACIM Gathered, ACIMgathered.us. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Today I'm going to do the lesson of the day, which if you want to get where I go to the Foundation for Inner Peace, and I play it. Jim Stewart, not Jimmy Stewart, Jim Stewart. Plus, says I play his speaking of it, singing of it. So speaking of it, however you want it, and I'll play it, and then we'll speak about it afterwards. All right, so that's the plan today. Nothing special, unless to the extent that the chorus is special. But otherwise, sit back, relax, take it easy. Do some stretches, and if you want to fall asleep during this, it's fine too. Just get something, and just a little something is all you need, and then well, the rest of it is just take it easy too, that kind of thing. And that's it. So, and I'm going to play it in sort of a meditative way with some music behind it. So, you can go in and out with some. There you go. Peace.
Lesson 170. There is no cruelty in God, and none in me. No one attacks without intent to hurt. This can have no exception. When you think that you attack in self-defense, you mean that to be cruel is protection. You are safe because of cruelty. You mean that you believe to hurt another brings you freedom. And you mean that to attack is to exchange the state in which you are for something better, safer, more secure from dangerous invasion and from fear. How thoroughly insane is the idea that to defend from fear is to attack. For here is fear begot and fed with blood, to make it grow and swell and rage, and thus is fear protected, not escaped. Today we learn a lesson which can save you more delay and needless misery than you can possibly imagine. It is this: you make what you defend against, and by your own defense against it, is it real and inescapable. Lay down your arms, and only then do you perceive it false. It seems to be the enemy without that you attack, yet your defense sets up an enemy within, an alien thought at war with you, depriving you of peace, splitting your mind into two camps which seem wholly irreconcilable. For love now has an enemy, an opposite, and fear, the alien, now needs your defense against the threat of what you really are. If you consider carefully the means by which your fancied self-defense proceeds on its imagined way, you will perceive the premises on which the idea stands. First, it is obvious ideas must leave their source, for it is you who make attack and must have first conceived of it. Yet you attack outside yourself and separate your mind from him who is to be attacked. With perfect faith, the split you made is real. Next are the attributes of love bestowed upon its enemy. For fear becomes your safety and protector of your peace, to which you turn for solace and escape from doubts about your strength and hope of rest in dreamless quiet. And as love is shorn of what belongs to it, and it alone, love is endowed with attributes of fear. For love would ask you lay down all defense as merely foolish, and your arms indeed would crumble into dust, for such they are. With love as enemy, must cruelty become a god, and gods demand that those who worship them obey their dictates and refuse to question them. Harsh punishment is meted out relentlessly to those who ask if the demands are sensible or even sane. It is their enemies who are unreasonable and insane, while they are always merciful and just. Today we look upon this cruel God dispassionately, and we note that though his lips are smeared with blood, and fire seems to flame from him, he is but made of stone. He can do nothing. We need not defy his power. He has none. And those who see in him their safety have no guardian, no strength to call upon in danger, and no mighty warrior to fight for them. This moment can be terrible, but it can also be the time of your release from abject slavery. You make a choice, standing before this idol, seeing him exactly as he is. Will you restore to love what you have sought to wrest from it and lay before this mindless piece of stone? Or will you make another idol to replace it? For the god of cruelty takes many forms. Another can be found. Yet do not think that fear is the escape from fear. Let us remember what the text has stressed about the obstacles to peace. The final one, the hardest to believe, is nothing, and a seeming obstacle with the appearance of a solid block, impenetrable, fearful, and beyond surmounting, is the fear of God himself. Here is the basic premise which enthrones the thought of fear as God. For fear is loved by those who worship it, and love appears to be invested now with cruelty. Where does the totally insane belief in gods of vengeance come from? Love has not confused its attributes with those of fear. Yet must the worshippers of fear perceive their own confusion in fear's enemy, its cruelty as now a part of love. And what becomes more fearful than the heart of love itself? The blood appears to be upon his lips. The fire comes from him, and he is terrible above all else, cruel beyond conception, striking down all who acknowledge him to be their God. The choice you make today is certain, for you look for the last time upon this bit of carven stone you made, and call it God no longer. You have reached this place before, but you have chosen that this cruel God remain with you in still another form. And so the fear of God returned with you. This time you leave it there, and you return to a new world unburdened by its weight, beheld not in its sightless eyes, but in the vision that your choice restored to you. Now do your eyes belong to Christ, and he looks through them. Now your voice belongs to God and echoes his. And now your heart remains at peace forever. You have chosen him in place of idols, and your attributes given by your Creator are restored to you at last. The call for God is heard and answered. Now has fear made way for love, as God himself replaces cruelty. Father, we are like you. No cruelty abides in us, for there is none in you. Your peace is ours, and we bless the world with what we have received from you alone. We choose again and make our choice for all our brothers, knowing they are one with us. We bring them your salvation as we have received it now. and we give thanks for them who render us complete. In them we see your glory, and in them we find our peace. Holy are we, because your holiness has set us free, and we give thanks. Amen.
Okay. Lesson 170. There is no cruelty in God, and none in me. 170. There is no cruelty in God, and none in me. Lesson makes sense on its surface. You don't have to go much further into the lesson if you know the course to understand that on its face. There is no cruelty in God, right? You know, God, as far as we understand God, is not a cruel God. He's a loving, caring. No need to be cruel. Would God want to be cruel? What would be the point? And so we are one with God, and so it's no cruelty in us. All right, so let's just start giving Jim go play some more, and I'll stop and go.
Lesson 170. There is no cruelty in God, and none in me. No one attacks without intent to hurt.
And it starts off kind of like almost you can feel like it's an indictment at first, because we all are in attack mode most of the time. So most of us are trying to hurt others most of the time. We have no intent to hurt ourselves first and foremost. The first person we're trying to attack is ourselves, because we have to assume an attack before we attack. Before we attack anyone else, we have to assume we're being attacked. Otherwise, we're just attacking for no reason, no cause. The cause is, uh-oh, I'm being attacked. I better back. I better make sure the person doesn't attack me again.
This can have no exception. When you think that you attack in self-defense, you mean that to be cruel is protection. You are safe because of cruelty. You mean that you believe to hurt another brings you freedom. And you mean that to attack is to exchange the state in which you are for something better, safer, more secure from dangerous invasion and from fear.
So we invent weapons, and maybe if I invent this weapon, I can take this little piece of metal and put it into this piece of steel, and I can put it into this barrel and press this button, and I can take and then this little piece of steel can come out of the barrel really fast and kill that person over there. This is what we do with all of our weapons. We take our time and money to invent ways to hurt other people, because if we don't, they'll invent ways to hurt us. And it seems that that's pretty much what happens. It seems quite rational. And we see it playing out right now in what we call politics on TV screens of our minds.
How thoroughly insane is the idea that to defend from fear is to attack. For here is fear begot and fed with blood, to make it grow and swell and rage. And thus is fear protected, not escaped. Today we learn a lesson which can save you more delay and needless misery than you can possibly imagine. It is this: you make what you defend against, and by your own defense against it, is it real and inescapable. Lay down your arms, and only then do you perceive it false.
How hard is that? I mean, you see it on TV sometimes, but it's very difficult for a large country that wants to protect a large amount of people, or maybe individually you can pull that off, but for a large amount of people to pull that off when they are protecting, or for anyone to pull that off when they're protecting somebody else, or even because that amounts to eventually protecting yourself, because you're protected by the people around you, or seemingly protected by the world around you. And so when that's threatened, you're threatened. You can't just shrug that off because we want to shrug that off. Because no matter what happens, fear tends to get the better of us in this here. Not always, not every minute of the day, especially not when we're in here in our spiritual gym. And there's plenty of places if we keep ourselves somewhat patterned and somewhat in the correct, out of the roller coaster, we can keep ourselves somewhat safe. But as you get out there, things happen, boom, boom, smash, smash, crash, crash. You might find yourself involved in a certain situation where you're skipping over that first part. It's hard for people to understand that first part of the problem. The very first part, it says, wait a minute, I can't attack that person. If I attack that person, then I'm the one who's starting the whole thing, getting the whole ball rolling. I'm getting the whole ball rolling. I'm the one who's stating at the very beginning of this whole thing that fighting is real, attack is necessary. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to prove that this teaching is real, and you can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. I'm going to lay down my weapons right now, and I'm going to show you. You know, I had a dream one night when I became lucid, and I knew that I was lucid, and I saw my father in a dream, and he did something so strange and so not my father, and I said to myself, "That's just sorry, you could never have done that." I'm dreaming, and I had my friend with me next to me. Actually, I think it was for those of you who know her, who was Christina. And I said to my friend Christina, I said, Christina, who was in the dream with me, I said, Christina, this is a dream. And she looked at me like I was nuts. I said, I'll prove it to you. And I said to my father, I said, I called my father some sort of, I said, Dad, you're an idiot, you're a moron. Something getting really angry, so I knew he'd come out and come at me. And he came at me, and I said, watch, he's gonna hurt me now. It's not gonna hurt at all. And he came and he hurt me, and then I woke up with I was in some other dream, in some other. I bounced myself out of that dream. But the point is I let it bury me. I let it overwhelm me. I threw down my weapons. I threw everything down. I threw everything away. I said, come get me. Same thing when I had that hallucination because I was on some medicine I was taking was disagreeing with me for a Parkinson's medication, kind of went haywire. And I had the hallucination of that little boy. And there he was. I don't know if you knew that, but that happened to me once about a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. And we talked about it in here. And a little boy came out of the closet and started staring at me. It was somewhat unsettling. And I didn't know what to exactly do about it. I knew it was a hallucination, but nevertheless, it was a solid one. And so I was looking at it. I just said, all right, come at me. I wanted to prove it was something that I wanted to get rid of it. And the best way to do it was just, I motioned for him, come get me. He came at me, and right before he got to my face, it shattered. Just like glass shattering and then disappearing. It was nothing. It was a bubble. There's no power. It came at me a minute, trying to grab onto me. It goes, thank God. But just in there to do anything. We all know you confront something in the night. If you confront something in a dream at night, you conquer it. You run from it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You make what you defend against, and by your own defense against it, it is real and inescapable. Lay down your arms, and only then do you pursue it false.
It seems to be the enemy without that you attack. Yet your defense sets up an enemy within, an alien thought at war with you, depriving you of peace, splitting your mind into two camps which seem wholly irreconcilable. For love now has an enemy.
I love when he says something that's obviously he's being somewhat sarcastic. Love now has an enemy. No.
An opposite. And fear, the alien, now needs your defense against the threat of what you really are. If you consider carefully the means by which your fancied self-defense proceeds on its imagined way, you will perceive the premises on which the idea stands. First, it is obvious ideas must leave their source, for it is you who make attack and must have first conceived of it. Yet you attack outside yourself and separate your mind from him who is to be attacked. With perfect faith, the split you made is real. Next are the attributes of love bestowed upon its enemy. For fear becomes your safety and protector of your peace, to which
So fear now loves us. Fear now is on our side. Fear now is necessary. The attributes of love are bestowed upon its enemy. Fear becomes safety and our protector of our peace. We turn to it for solace and escape from our doubts and our strength and our strength and hope of rest and dreamless quiet. We turn to fear now. We say things like, "Oh, fear is good. Fear helps us. Fear is necessary." Without fear, we need fear, because without fear, blah, 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 blah.
which you turn for solace and escape from doubts about your strength and hope of rest in dreamless quiet. And as love is shorn of what belongs to it, and it alone, love is endowed with attributes of fear. For love would ask you lay down all defense as merely foolish, and your arms indeed would crumble into dust, for such they are. With love as enemy, must cruelty become a god.
So what happened here? You love suddenly becomes the enemy, because what happens is you are led on your arms, and fear comes in and seemingly carrying. Wait, careful. Don't be very careful, son. You never know what can happen. Tiptoe your way through this problem. Tiptoe your way through this problem. Don't go fast. Careful. Maybe you should turn around and go home. Just go. Just go. This ain't right. Go. I care for you. Attack. Wait, attack. Don't go. Attack. Fight. No flight. Fight. I care for you.
And gods demand that those who worship them obey their dictates and refuse to question them. Harsh punishment is meted out relentlessly to those who ask if the demands are sensible or even sane. It is their enemies who are unreasonable and insane, while they are always merciful and just.
Notice how now, this is funny, because it seems as if it's caring, but always who you caring, the caring always comes at the expense of somebody else. I'm caring for you because somebody else is trying to get you. In the game of life, no one's trying to get you. It's just a playful little game. It's like a board game. No stakes. No stakes. Nobody loses really anything. You lose. Oh, well. Let's play again tomorrow. Then you play again tomorrow. Who won last time? Okay, you go. You start. No stakes. That's not what the ego tells you. The ego says, "Oh no, you lose money. You lose money, you die." Everything comes down to death to the ego, because death is the ego. So what is the ego really saying? Come to me. I'm everywhere anyway. Come to me.
Today we look upon this cruel God dispassionately, and we note that though his lips are smeared with blood, and fire seems to flame from him, he is but made of stone. He can do nothing. We need not defy his power. He has none. And those who see in him their safety have no guardian, no strength to call upon in danger, and no mighty warrior to fight for them.
So just stand there and call up, just say, "Hey, come on, get me. Come and get me. Overwhelm me. Do your best." And if you hear an inner voice just telling you this, telling you that, let him tell you what he wants. Let the voice tell you what it wants to tell you. Don't fight it. Let it scream. Let it voice its opinion. Let's show you pictures. Let's sit there and show you pictures. Let's say, hey, look at this. It could happen. I care for you. I care for you. It could happen.
This moment can be terrible, but it can also be the time of your release from abject slavery. You make a choice, standing before this idol, seeing him exactly as he is. Will you restore to love what you have sought to wrest from it and lay before this mindless piece of stone? Or will you make another idol to replace it? For the god of cruelty takes many forms. Another can be found.
The God of cruelty takes on many forms. Obviously, it should be so easy as just to see somebody crying right in front of you because of your actions. If you took an action and everyone around you just got really upset and down, and then you felt the cruelty running through you, and it was coursing in your veins in some negative way, then you'd know. But it's tricky. It comes through you as caring, as loving. That's why people get into the spiritual ego. They think everything's just dandy, but realize that their ego is just getting bigger and fatter. Because the competition between them and others just cut so deep. And they've been much more interested in winning because of stakes and things that they have to win or else, realizing that there are no stakes. We are the Joker and the King. We created the whole mess. They came in as stakes in a dream.
Yet do not think that fear is the escape from fear. Let us remember what the text has stressed about the obstacles to peace. The final one, the hardest to believe, is nothing, and a seeming obstacle with the appearance of a solid block, impenetrable, fearful, and beyond surmounting, is the fear of God Himself.
Now, this is the hardest thing that I realized once. I remember talking to my friend Jessica. She's, of course, a student, and we were talking, and she said that one of the turning points for her was when she realized that she was the cause of everything. And I said to her, yes, true, that is pretty much one of the more important turning points, the more important miracles that you take on is that viewpoint that we are the cause of everything that happens to us. And it's true. But you go on even further, or perhaps another miracle, whether it's further or comes first or whatever. But the main thing was when he says here, you let us remember that was sort of for fear is love by the final one is hardest to believe. Is basic premise which for the fear is loved by those who worship it and appears to invest not with cruelty. Wait, hold on. Well, I'm sorry.
Here is the basic premise, which...
Okay. The final one, the hardest to believe is nothing. And a seeming obstacle with the appearance of a solid block, impenetrable, fearful, and beyond surmounting, is the fear of God Himself. So the final one, the hardest to believe is nothing. To believe in nothing is the hardest thing, and that only God, and there is no such thing as cruelty. And I said to her, look, the hardest thing to believe is not that we are the cause, is that there is no cause. We're not causing anything. Jesus said there are no effects in this world. There are no effects here. This is a dream, literally. Not metaphorically, literally. The way this world's set up is like a dream at night. Same exact way, well, on a much larger basis. So literally, nothing in this world exists. So cruelty is a total lie. It has no power. It's no different than a little boy. You let it overwhelm you, and you comes out nothing.
Which enthrones the thought of fear as God. For fear is loved by those who worship it, and love appears to be invested now with cruelty. Where does the totally insane belief in gods of vengeance come from? Love has not confused its attributes with those of fear. Yet must the worshippers of fear perceive their own confusion in fear's enemy. Its cruelty as now a part of love. And what becomes more fearful than the heart of love itself? The blood appears to be upon his lips. The fire comes from him, and he is terrible above all else, cruel beyond conception, striking down all who acknowledge him to be their God. The choice you make today is certain, for you look for the last time upon this bit of carven stone you made, and call it God no longer. You have reached this place before, but you have chosen that this cruel God remain with you in still another form.
Now, this is one of the differences that when we get to the final wake up, is that we're not going to come back. There's no more back and forth. We get to level 1, it's brief. So it's a simulation of eternity. Because once you get into a real eternity, non-simulated version of eternity, it's eternal. It's forever. Forever is forever. You can't bounce out of forever. Once you get to the point where we realize we never did this, we will be in eternity again. Now, if we wanted to do the whole thing again, I guess we could. But I don't see any reason for that. But who knows? But I'm not an expert of what really is going on in the eternal realm. But I do know that with level 1 and level 2, the back and forth will one day no longer happen.
And so the fear of God returned with you. This time you leave it there, and you return to a new world unburdened by its weight, beheld not in its sightless eyes, but in the vision that your choice restored to you. Now do your eyes belong to Christ, and he looks through them. Now your voice belongs to God and echoes his, and now your heart remains at peace forever.
Now, keep in mind, when you go into that internal realm, even though it's brief, and it's a holy instant, and it's bada bing, bam, 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 boom, and then you're back into this. It's still, it's the simulation of forever. It's like a nighttime dream. You dream that you're in that dream forever. It feels like forever. Forever feels like forever in a dream because forever is outside. Yesterday we talked about it. Not yesterday. It was last time I was here on Tuesday, where forever. The eternal now has no past and has no future. It's not the present time sandwiched between the past and the future. That is the present time. That is a part of the timeline. That is the timeline in existence in the present time. That is a product of the past, and it's creating the future. Seemingly, I mean, in this imaginary timeline that we exist on. But the eternal now has no past and has no future. It's just always been, and it exists beyond all time. Time has no place in the eternal realm. In real, so once you're there, you've always been there. Then they pull us back in. We're pulled back into the world, into level 2.
You have chosen him in place of idols, and your attributes given by your Creator are restored to you at last. The call for God is heard and answered. Now has fear made way for love, as God himself replaces cruelty. Father, we are like you. No cruelty abides in us, for there is none in you.
That's why there's no cruelty in us. There's none in God. Cruelty is just another name for the ego, for death. Remember the other day we learned that death manifests itself now, here in this part, in this present moment, as all the negativity that we experience in our lives. So there's cruelty. Cruelty manifests itself as anxiety. Death manifests itself as anxiety. As cruelty, as mean, as misery, as creating misery. All that kind of stuff comes from death, comes from the ego. And everything, depending on what you want to call death, you can call death cruelty. And everything comes from cruelty. You can call death anxiety. Then everything comes from anxiety. You can call death fighting, attack, and everything comes from fighting and attack. Whatever you call death, that's where more death will come from. That's where different variations of death will come from. And the good thing about that is you don't have to get rid of death in its final stage. You can get rid of death in its small phases. You can get rid of death in its small phases. When anxiety pops up, work with anxiety. Just say, hey, anxiety, blabber on and on about your point of view if you want. I disagree. And so whatever you want to say it, but I don't believe it. Not me. As a matter of fact, whatever you say, I know the opposite's true. So you may want to get lost if you want me to be nervous. It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna work. Any of your friends come by too, like misery and anger and frustration. I'm not gonna agree with them either.
Your peace is ours, and we bless the world with what we have received from you alone. We choose again and make our choice for all our brothers, knowing they are one with us. We bring them your salvation as we have received it now, and we give thanks for them who render us complete. In them we see your glory, and in them we find our peace. Holy are we, because your holiness has set us free, and we give thanks. Amen.
God's innocence, God's holiness, God's perfection set us free. Our understanding of God's, our true perception, the real world as we understand it, sets us free. You could say the forgiving dream, the dream of reality as we can get to in this until we are woken up to the final wake up. So you are always replacing a dream for a dream, but the question is, what dream? Interestingly enough, in a strange way, there is a hierarchy in this dream we're in, because all of us want to get to the forgiving dream. We all want to get to the happy dream, to a place that competition is just a friendly little game of cards with no money involved. Just, hey, I got more chips than you. And I say this as sort of a compromise because this is something that we tend to find ourselves involved in a competition in this government that we live in. Even if we want to be off the grid mentally, so we don't look at the competition that we're involved in. Just being involved in the economy that we're in puts us into a competition mode. But you can look at it differently. You can look at it as just a game you're playing for fun. Because it's a dream. It's not even real, the game. Literally. That's a good word for us. If we walk away with any word for today, it's literally. Because everything really rides on awareness of dreaming. Because then God's perfect. And he's not even here. That's the perfection that you have to come to in the very end, the belief or the understanding of nothingness. And it's the hardest place to come to on a regular basis. It's one thing to come to it intellectually. It's one thing to come to it theoretically. It's another thing to come to it practically on a regular basis. And they say, what was Einstein's brain like? Did he live in relative time? Well, what's the brain like of a course student? We live in non-duality. We live in oneness. We understand that we're bouncing back and forth from oneness to duality, but we still live in that place of understanding. If we can find ourselves in a happy dream, All right, so fine. I'm still in the ego's realm. I'm always in the ego's realm until I'm not, but that won't be my doing. Consciousness is where I'll always be until I'm not. But that'll be the God's doing. So then unconscious is the ego. And then the ego split into one and two. And so that consciousness started out with at the top level, a happy dream, and then came down to the negative dream of non-beingness, I guess you can call it. We live in a dream of non-beingness, a dream of nothingness, a dream of death and all its variations, a dream of darkness, absence of light. No cruelty abides in us, for there is none in you. And you could take that and say it to anybody you want. Me, my family, no cruelty abides in us, because no cruelty abides in you. I say it to you and your family. And we bless the world with what we have perceived from you alone. We bless the world with what we have received from you alone. Why? Because we are one with the sonship. We are the sonship, and we are one with each other. We're all one with each other. So, but receive for yourself, receive the atonement for yourself, knowing that yourself is everyone else's self. Say the word I. Say it. I. That I. When I say the word I, it's the same I as yours when you say I. There's only one I. Don't even go as far as to say I am. Just say I. And when you say I, and the same I as I, when I say I, there's only one I. And the Father is that close to you. The Christ is that close to you. It's as close as the word I. Anytime you say I, you're contacting Christ. Anytime you say the word I, anytime you say I this or I that, anytime you write down on a piece of paper, capital I, you're contacting Christ. You're accessing the Father. And so that's how we're connected. That's how much when you receive the light of the Creator, you're connected to everybody else. You sometimes say, I this or I that. I allow myself to receive the light of the Creator. I allow myself to excel today, to thrive today, to forgive today, to know today, to be clear today. I am loving today. And every time you say the word I, before you even get to anything else, you make a connection to everybody else. Everyone else is saying the word I at that time, in that moment, is connecting with you in the collective universal I. Everyone that's thinking the word I is connecting with you in the universal I. And all those different variations. It's a close Father, Mother, God is with you. Your parental, your inner guide is so close that every time you say the word I, that's him. That's her. That's it. That's your inner guide right there. Your inner therapist. It's that close. And that inner therapist, that I is perfect. It's perfect. It's flawless. It's holy, which means absolutely perfect, innocent. Give it a shot every time you see the word holy. Just for experiment purposes, put the word innocent there. I have found that it works beautifully. You're innocent of everything, of all charges against us. Any charges or any negativity that you put against yourself It's not true. It's just not true. You've done nothing wrong. Ever. No guilty charges. No charges at all. The ultimate defense. Started out with normal defense. Jesus had your back. And then finally he sits you down one day and says, look, this is the ultimate defense. You can't be found guilty over anything. You're not guilty over anything you've done because you didn't do anything wrong. You just thought you did. And you can't be found guilty for anything you think you might do in the future because you're not doing anything wrong or anything at all, actually, anyway. So don't be afraid of anything. Go out there, have as much fun as you want. And everything's just fine. It's all good. It's all okay. It's like one day a judge calls you into his office and says, Wayne, or Lynn, Dove, when you're running, you're not gonna be you can break any seeming law you want because there are no laws. It's a joke, it's a lie. And if you do, no one will get hurt, and you won't hurt anybody else, and you won't get hurt. You can speed, you can steal, but you're not stealing anything. Now, that sounds terrible. But you can do whatever you want. And people who go through this, who get to that point where they know that, don't do that. It is how it works. Buddha had no reason to steal. Jesus had no reason to hurt anybody. They knew the truth. It would make no sense to hurt somebody in a dream and get off on it. But they also knew they could. You can do whatever you want. If a dog decides to go out and bark, bite somebody, he doesn't become guilty of that. He's just a dog. And if we thought we could protect ourselves, we should. And if we had a place for that dog, they tend to put dogs down and attack and brutalize somebody. We don't have to do that either. If we had a space for that dog and so forth, and whatever reasons they put it down for, we don't have to ever put down a dog. We won't have to. And if we do put it down, it shouldn't be because the dog needs out of vengeance or any kind of justice. It should be because there's no room for, I don't know, some wrong dog attacks other dogs, or you don't want to put it while they're going crazy. I don't know. But the point is that dogs, like humans, at this stage of our three-dimensional existence in this world that we've created for ourselves, can't be guilty. Because we create ourselves in a dream. And in a dream, there is no guilt. There is no guilt in the dream. In this 3D realm, there is no guilt. You can't be guilty. You can have consequences for yourself that aren't fun. If you go out and do those things that I talked about, if you go out and do those things that you're not guilty of, you still have consequences. Like the dog, the consequences are most likely the dream figures will put you down. And you probably just have to start again somewhere, some other dog's body. And grow that dog up and start all over again. One day you'll try something else, maybe. Dogs aren't working for you. Try some other. Innocence, are we innocent? Are we? Because your innocence has set us free. God's innocence, God's perfection, God's absolute flawlessness. And by that I mean, this is going to sound weird, but if you think about it, because we're all trapped in our moral systems that we have for ourselves in our societies. God's morally perfect. God's never committed any moral crimes. God's not unethical. God's perfectly innocent, and therefore so are we. You are perfectly moral. You are absolutely ethical. There's no sin in you. There was no sin in me. You're the perfect I. Say I. Perfection. Absolute perfection. That I is eternal. The eternal me, and there's only one me, the big M. The big M. I'm not talking about McDonald's. That's what my father used to call me McDonald's when I was a kid. He used to call it, so there's the big M, everyone, the big M for lunch. That's right, my father took us to McDonald's for lunch. The big M. Well, the big M is the eternal me, the I. Only one me. When you say me, you can't come with everyone else saying me, you think of me. The duration of the word I. And it's comforting. It's not selfish to say I. You're making a connection. You're receiving in the greater. You're receiving your eternal guide, your internal guide. Father, we are like you. No cruelty abides in us, for there is none in you. Your peace is ours, and we bless the world with what we have received from you alone. We choose again and make our choice for all our brothers, knowing that they are one with us. We bring them your salvation as we have received it now, and we give thanks for them who render us complete. In them we see your glory, and in them we find peace. Holy are we because your holiness, your innocence, your perfection has set us free, and we give thanks. Amen. Gents and ladies, thanks very much. This is Miracles Everywhere. Miracles are everywhere. Wherever you are, you can always change your mind. Always. You always are changing your mind. The question is, can you be aware of it and change your mind from bad to good, from negative to positive? And then you get a miracle. It's not that hard, actually. Once you get into like the swing of it, miracles come pretty fast. Just pouring in. Let it pour in. Let them just pour it. All right, God bless everyone. I'll see you Monday. And when Lynn and I are gonna start a new book, The Way Out. It's called by Joseph Benner, same guy, but it's his next book. It's called The Way Out. So
Oh, I love that, Wayne. I'm so happy.
yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. So come by on
Is it
Monday.
from 3 to 4?
No, it's from 2 to 3.
Oh, 2 to 3. See, most of the time I was working, but if I'm home, I'm going to go in. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Wayne, for everything, Rev Wayne.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you Monday. Peace.
Thank you, Wayne. Love you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks to everybody who's joined us today on ACIM Gather for A Course in Miracles here on YouTube and Zoom. And I'm going to close out the room now. Thank you all for being here.